Speed.
85-1.
Okay.
Well, believe it or not, we've found Chris from the Saints over here in London, looking suitably cold, and certainly not stranded. First of all, welcome to Countdown, again.
Thank you, Ian, again.
And there is the living proof in London that the Saints aren't banned on Countdown.
What nonsense that is.
Never been banned on. But tell us, what have you been doing since you've been over here, Chris?
Well, like, since we left initially, we've done 2 tours, 1 LP and 1 EP.
Yeah? And you've had quite a bit of success on the charts, I believe.
Well, 32.
Yeah.
Which ain't too bad for country boys.
Right. Now, as far as the product's concerned, you came over here, you was labelled by the Australian magazines as Australia's first punk rock band, which is a title I don't think that you or the group particularly liked.
No, well, I mean, it was irrelevant at the time because it was like a copy of the English media.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think they'd have to know what they're talking about at the time.
What do you actually class yourself as? You just class yourself as a rather energetic rock and roll band, don't you? If you have to put a classification to your music.
Yeah, talent as well.
Yeah.
Classification.
Right. Now with the product, I mean, is there any chance of you coming back to Australia in the near future?
Yeah, fairly, I suppose so. I mean, depends, like, on Shrimpton, doesn't it?
On what? On Stephen?
Yes, of course.
I see, right.
Yeah.
You've thrown me more.
Yeah, that's all right.
All right. What is your attitude towards, say, like the Australian media press, and thirdly their audiences? I mean, the group.
Well, the audience of the Australian press is really nice.
Yeah.
They're a great group and stuff, and they deserve all the reaction they get.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like it. I like some people in the Australian press. The music business is the same the world over there.
Yeah.
You know.
What about audiences, though?
Well, the ones that we had, we've only ever done one tour of Australia.
Yeah.
And it was neat. It was better than it is here because here at times it's a bit like predictable.
Right.
But that's only in London. But you know, people, it's the same the world over.
Well, now with clubs opening up all over the place in England, both in London and the provinces, what sort of gigs do you play at? I mean, do you play at all the punk rock gigs or what?
No, well, look, our audience these days isn't really punk because punk is like, well, it's practically gone at the moment. It doesn't really exist anymore. So it's like a fair cross-section of the people that we used to get before, like, this hysteria thing came up.
Yeah.
Because we have just, like, come through a boom period. And, like, these things are just sorting themselves out. And it's not just because you've got spiky hair and look like Johnny Rotten these days that you, like, win over audiences. It's like back to the way it used to be.
Yeah.
Like, the group has to be impressive and not cool.
Now, coming sort of from a year ago and coming from Brisbane, and sending the single over, I'm Stranded, over to England, and getting really incredible reaction as far as reviews were concerned. Which way now, a year later, do you think the group is heading as far as music is concerned for, say, the next 6 or 7 months?
Well, I mean, that's really difficult. It depends on, like, the songs you write. I mean, we've just done the LP, and, like, it's a bit more varied than the last one, but it's very much in the same style.
Right.
Because we've become highly stylised over the years. And, I don't know, we just get tighter, I guess.
Yeah. You're one of the few
don't get richer.
You're one of the few groups that I know at the moment, especially coming from Australia, that can put forward a rather original version of, say, like Buddy Holly numbers and things like that. I mean, is the band very orientated towards the music of the 50s? I mean, just, you know, from the songwriting point of view?
They obviously count as influences, yeah. But, I mean, we don't do much of that stuff because we do have, like, lots of original stuff that we much prefer doing anyway.
But I mean, there was quite a good mixture of old songs within your repertoire, especially when you left Australia. And
yeah,
they were very energetic.
Like for barrel of laughs, you know.
Yeah. I mean, did you treat them as a laugh or did you treat them seriously? Because I personally loved some of the Buddy Holly stuff you did, you know.
Well, like, it's a paradox, you know.
Yeah.
You treat it seriously and it's a laugh at the same time.
Now, with
Yeah.
this album, when's that going to be released in Australia?
I don't know, that's up to Shrimpy again.
I see.
Yeah.
And
Possibly early next year.
right.
You know.
And when do you think you'll be coming back to Australia to do some gigs? I mean, you know, seriously. I mean, is there a thought about you coming back in the new year or what?
Well, yeah, there is a thought, but it depends on how things go here because we're sort of committed to touring here a bit more.
What about Europe?
And the continent, yeah.
Yeah. Have you done any gigs in
Yeah.
in Europe? What, in Germany?
No, France and Holland.
And how'd they go?
Terrific.
Okay.
Except for Holland, where they all smoke drugs and are all boring.
I see. All right. Well, listen. Thanks for coming on the show again.
Yeah, it was all right. Enjoyed it.
And take care.
Yeah, I will. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right. Can we do one promo, Chris? Hi.
Running.
You know what to say? You happy to... You want us to...
Yeah, what's my cue card?
You want to kick out? I'll cut it.
No, you don't.